Texas A&M baseball coming off that weekend sweep against the Tennessee Volunteers. Now they are at home starting this Friday, coming up against the South Carolina Gamecocks. It's a 3-game set, and you can see all of them on SEC Network Plus, courtesy of 12th Man Productions. And our analyst on those broadcasts, as he has been all season, is the winningest head coach in A&M baseball history, and that is Mark Johnson. And, Coach, thanks for joining us today.
No, it's good to be here. I'm excited. It's stretch run,
yeah.
and every morning I get up and I start looking in the computers and the papers and all of the stuff you got, and all over the country, people are making runs, and there's going to be some more surprises ahead, and then when you get the national seeds set up and all the other things that are not just the championships. That play in, it's interesting.
Yeah, and you think about what the Aggies are coming off of, that series against Tennessee. Most people might look at it and say, well, the Aggies swept them. Tennessee's low in the standings. That's what should have happened. But maybe the surprise is how much fight the Volunteers showed against the Aggies.
That surprised me the most. When we went out and punched right away on Friday night, and then they made a comeback, and then we went ahead and sealed it. Sometimes the team will fall apart. That team is well coached. They've got good talent, and it's just one of those years where things don't fall together as well. They're going to be some more. They've got a chance to win some ball games. Tennessee, that appeared on paper, this team's not very good. You still got to go out and win. So,
yeah.
But they did it.
Pitching, it's almost been a little mix and match lately because some guys have struggled, but some guys still giving you some good innings. Tennessee knocked the ball around pretty good over the weekend, except for against one guy. Matt Kent has gone to the bullpen and really solidified a pitching staff in that role.
He's a valuable guy. You know, he was valuable as a starter because he would get you linked in the ball games. He didn't have the magic where he could throw shutouts all the time, and not as believable that he'll throw a shutout as a Grayson Long or some of the other pitchers. But he keeps you in ball games, and of course he's been in a reliever role. He's been in a closer role before. He just takes the ball, and he's smart. He knows what he wants to do. He can establish pitches immediately. Some guys it takes 2 or 3 innings, but my gosh, what a job he did against Tennessee when guys were having some problems, you know, for whatever reason. You know, we had a little bit of a slump there. I say slump compared to some 0 ERAs, you know, so now we've got some ERAs working. But Matt's just, he's a neat kid to root for, too, because he works so hard at it, but he's doing well.
That's the thing. Sometimes you say A&M could be in a slump or struggling, and the reason is because you compare it to what they did earlier in the year, where nothing went wrong, but the Aggies still have managed to get to a 41-7 record. And I want to ask you about a guy like Nick Banks. His average was well over 400 for most of the season. Still very good, right around the 370s, but he's not what he once was. You look at it as there's concern about Nick Banks, or do you say he's Nick Banks and he'll get it back?
Yeah, I think that's what the latter is what you say. I think it's very, very hard. There's pressure. When you're hitting over 400, there's pressure to get multiple hit games every time you play because you want to keep, because those guys they're athletes. They like competition and they like the challenge, and even though they know it's not drastically important to hit over 400, it's still out there and it's still on the paper. You say, well, yeah, I get a couple hits today, I'll get a little ease, I'll be able to hit, I'll be hitting 415, and you know, and he's not a selfish player at all. Not at all. It's so far away from him, but it's still, you press a little bit forward. But, you know, when you go into a little bit of not a slump, but you go into a little bit where balls aren't falling and you're just not getting solid hits. And, of course, everybody's after you. The opponent, they have you circle when you roll in. And so you don't get the pitches to hit that the guy does in the 8th and 9th hole. So I don't think there's he's too much of a competitor, and he's got an even-keeled mind, and he'll be fine. And but yeah, to drop down to 376 and people are worried, you say, boy, that's a pretty good situation to be in.
Again, it's kind of, you compare what he once was doing.
Yeah,
That's why you might use the term struggle, but really it has been a good season for him overall. This weekend, 3 games against South Carolina here at Bluebell Park, and the Gamecocks are in a must-win situation. It's dire for them now if they want to make the NCAA tournament, and that almost speaks to a lot of danger for the Aggies coming into this series.
Yeah, it's a wounded animal, you know. It's one of those things, don't go up and pet it too much because he may bite you and he may come to life. And so No, there's a lot of teams right now that the pressure's on. They've got to win, and we're playing one of them, and they're a legitimate team.
Yeah,
you know, they have a history, and so this isn't something where all of a sudden they foolishly have a chance to get into a tournament. But they'll be ready to play, and Aggies will get their best shot. And you know, interesting enough, you look at the Aggies, been ranked #1 for a long time. They're 41-7. They're leading the nation in a lot of things, and have the attention of everybody. That's pressure. That puts some pressure. Every time you show up to play, the other team can hardly wait to take a shot at you.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Thanks for the time here today, Coach. See you on Friday night.
Look forward to it.
All right, Mark Johnson right here on the beat. Back with more in just a moment.